Have you ever heard a strange noise in your house and just wondered what it was? You know, that weird gurgle, that little drip, or maybe that water bill that suddenly spikes for no reason? We usually just write this stuff off as, well, house stuff, annoyances. But what if I told you they weren't? What if they're actually a kind of communication, a secret language your house is using to tell you something really important is going on, just out of sight? In this explainer, we're going to learn how to listen. So really, what is your house trying to tell you? Believe me, those weird sounds and mysterious wet spots, they're not random. They're clues, they're breadcrumbs, leading you to these incredibly complex systems working tirelessly right behind your walls and under your floors. And these are the classic signs, right? This is the vocabulary of a house that's trying to get your attention. Gurgling toilets, water stands appearing on the ceiling out of nowhere, that one soggy patch in the yard that never seems to dry out. Or maybe it's a funky smell coming from a drain you can't get rid of, or pipes that bang and clang whenever you turn on the water. And of course, the big one, a water bill that just shoots through the roof. Every single one of these is a specific message, a little warning flag that something's up. This is where our investigation begins. So let's start by decoding these symptoms. Think of yourself as a detective, and you're learning a new language. Each one of these signs points to a potential issue somewhere in your home's huge, hidden plumbing network. And once you start to understand the language, you can really begin to understand the system itself.
Yeah, exactly. A gurgling toilet is never just a gurgling toilet. It's actually a message coming from this massive, interconnected system that's under some kind of stress. And to really get the message, we have to understand the network it's coming from.
So let's pull back the curtain on this hidden network. Probably the best way to think about it is like your home's circulatory system. And just like our own bodies, it has two totally distinct sides. Each one has a different job, it's made of different materials, and it works in a completely different way. So your plumbing system is really two systems in one. First, you've got the supply lines. These guys are under high pressure, and their job is to push fresh, clean water into your house through pipes usually made of copper or PEX. Then you have the drain lines. These are totally different. They're not pressurized at all. They just use good old gravity to carry all the wastewater out of your house through pipes like PVC. And understanding this fundamental difference, pressure versus gravity, is absolutely key to figuring out what's going wrong. But here's the twist. The story doesn't just stop inside your house. In fact, some of the biggest threats to this whole hidden network are happening right outside your walls. Your local environment, the very ground your house is built on, is in a constant battle with your pipes, 24/7. To see what I mean, let's look at a case study from Franklin, Tennessee. The source material points out that the unique local mix of soil, water, and even the age of the houses creates a very predictable set of plumbing problems. People there see the same issues over and over. This isn't just a string of bad luck, it's a perfect storm of geography, geology, and chemistry.
Okay, let's break down these forces, starting with the ground itself. In places like Williamson County, Tennessee, the ground is full of expansive clay soil. Now, what does that mean? It means when it gets wet, it swells up, and when it dries out, it shrinks. Now imagine that constant cycle of expanding and contracting, squeezing and shifting, putting immense stress on the rigid water and sewer lines buried in it. Over time, that relentless pressure can cause cracks and even major breaks.
The next environmental force is one you can't even see: the quality of the water. Hard water, which is just water with a high mineral content, flows through your pipes every single day. And over time, those minerals build up as sediment, especially inside your water heater. It's basically like cholesterol in an artery. It slowly restricts the flow, kills the efficiency, and eventually leads to a total failure. And finally, of course, there's the weather. In any region that gets cold winters, you've got freeze-thaw cycles. Any pipes in uninsulated areas, think crawl spaces, attics, outside walls, they're incredibly vulnerable. When the water inside them freezes, it expands with unbelievable force. We're talking enough force to split a metal pipe wide open. And the crazy part is, you won't even know it happened until everything thaws, and then bam, you've got a massive leak and a flood on your hands.
So you see, when you bring in an expert, you're not just paying for a wrench and a drain snake. What you're really paying for is this deep local knowledge. It's the ability to connect the symptoms happening inside your home to the specific environmental forces at play right there in your neighborhood.
Take a number like this, 40 to 80 psi. Now, to you and me, that might not mean much, but that's the normal range for residential water pressure. An expert knows this number like the back of their hand. So if your pressure is too low, their mind immediately goes to corroded pipes. If it's too high, they're thinking it could be a failing pressure regulator that's stressing out your entire system. That context, it's everything. It's what turns a wild guess into an accurate diagnosis.
And that diagnosis is just step one in a really methodical process. A true professional doesn't just put a Band-Aid on the symptom. They find the root cause using tools like cameras and pressure gauges. Then they do the repair. And this is crucial. They test their work to make sure the problem is actually solved for good. And finally, they clean up and give you documentation so you have a clear record of exactly what was done.
All right, so now that we understand the language and we know about the threats from the outside world, we can finally shift from just reacting to problems to actually getting ahead of them. This is how you can partner with your home, listen to what it needs, and stop many of these issues before they even start.
And here are some real, actionable steps you can take. Every so often, flush your water heater. That's how you fight back against that sediment buildup from hard water. Maybe have your sewer line inspected with a camera to check for tree roots before they cause a huge backup. And before winter hits, insulate those exposed pipes. Even simple things, like making sure your shutoff valves actually work and just taking a peek under your sinks for small drips, they can save you a world of hurt down the line. So, the next time you hear that strange sound or see that little damp spot, you're not just going to hear a noise anymore, are you? You're going to hear a message. You now have the tools to start figuring out what it means. So the only question left is this. Now that you speak your home's language, what will you listen for?